Hello, one and all, and welcome to Bugwatch. My name is Swissley, also David Little within the rest of the world. I'm here to talk to you about Tyranids and our wonderful leader, the Hive Mind. And the Hive Mind is something for me to tell you today, and it is asking me to tell you the Gorgon has arrived. It's here, guys. We have not one, but two GT wins for Gorgon lists. It's pretty impressive. I'm going to be showing you those two lists, and I'm going to be talking to you about another Behemoth list that went 5-1 in Germany. It also did very well. I'm hyped to show you these Gorgon lists because it's a bit of a fan favorite for everyone, and I think you're going to love them. We've got a slight change in the format. We've got bigger text and less detail because you already know if a Hive Tyrant will probably have a Last Wishbone Bone Sword. Why not? So I'm only going to tell you the Warlord traits, so it's bigger text so that you can, so it's more legible on your telephone device. All right. On with the lists! All right, ladies and gentlemen, this list is Mike Loga. Has been designed by Mike Loga, rather. It is not Mike Loga. Mike Loga is not the list. It is his or her list. He or her or they came 14th out of 156 players in Germany. Yeah, I styled that out really well, didn't I? He did very well. He's scoring pretty good scores here: an 83, an 82, a 96, a 97, 95, and 92. Pretty strong scores, if you ask me. He's taken a Behemoth with Territorial Instincts list. He's got 3 Tyrant Guard, 2 Hive Tyrants with the big guns, a Neurothroat with Synaptic Tendrils to give double the buffs on of 3d6, dropping 1 on Psychic tests. Got 10 Gargoyles there, a Lictor, Maleceptor, Venomthropes, Parasite Mortrex with Alien Cunning, because that's what you give it. And we've got lots of heavy support. We've got an Exocrine with Dermix Symbiosis. We've got 2 Screamer Killers, Screamer Killer, and Screamer Killer. All of them have adrenal glands. One of them, because he probably had 15 points left, has Spore Cysts with a -1 to hit. All right. No, sorry, not -1 to hit. They give you light cover. That's what they do. So this event was terrain that looks similar to the Dutch tabletop. I'm sorry, it looked like WTC, but it was Dutch Tabletop Terrain is the company that makes the terrain. By the looks of it, it looks pretty good for hiding like scrimmer killers, things like that behind. So I think this is probably a well-made list for the terrain. Mike had 1 loss to guard in the first round, but beat several big hitters after that in terms of strong lists. He does give up Bring It Down for 14 points here. That's one of the things that I always try and do when I'm building lists is think about what my opponent can take. However, these 14 points, all 4 big point scorers to get that 14 points all have a 4-up invuln. So that's very strong and actually might be a bit of a trap. Very interesting list here and kind of what you expect from Behemoth Territorial Instincts. You've got the 2 big, you've got the monster mash, you've got the 2 Hive Tyrants with the big guns, and you've got an Exocrine, which you can, people trade out that for the Tyrannofex. And yeah, I suppose the interesting points here are the Lictor, Venomthropes, and Gargoyles, which not necessarily you see in these lists, but they are your point scorers, I think. So in terms of points, how we're scoring, I think we've got behind enemy lines here with the Screamer Killers absolutely marching up the board. A bit of an onslaught there for an advance and charge. I think they will definitely sit in your opponent's back line quite easily. The bases aren't too big, and I think that especially on Dawn of War, you can really get around the flanks. We've also got the Parasite, which helps do that as well. Gargoyles, and overall, you're probably just marching up the board for the most part. The Lictor can either do that for you, or it can sit on your home objective against a shooting army, because they cannot target it unless they're within 12 of you if it is in terrain, which, looking at this terrain set, it probably is. Banners is probably something that we're doing here with the Parasite and the Gargoyles. I don't think you want to open the door to RBD because it's you just don't have the units and the unit size to do it. I think we're probably looking at kill secondaries. Cranial Feasting looks really good here because while the Hive Tyrants can shoot the shit out of everything big and that looks like a threat from the back of your opponent's side, the Screamer Killers can kill all the like elite infantry or just regular old infantry and eat some sergeants. Bring It Down is also very good because you've got the big guns, you've got the Screamer Killers, which, good against things like armigers as well, especially when they've got adrenal glands because they'll wound on 4s. And of course, with all the different stratagems that Behemoth have, +1 to wound, etc. Assassinate's probably good here as well because you are trying to probably table your opponent. And no prisoners works very well here as well because those screamer killers have an awful lot of attacks. Psychic secondaries are also very good here because the Neurothrope has synaptic tendrils to give the 3d6 dropping 1 buff to 2 units. So really nice, especially when the Maliceptor's there as well. You can also give it to that to go and do some real damage, but you can also put it on your Neurothrope at the same time or your Hive Tyrant and get those points, baby, from Warp Ritual or Psychic Interrogation. So well done to Mike for absolutely smashing that event. Fortunately, a very close loss in that first game. I'm sure you'll get them next time, dude. All right. Next list. Okay, this guy, Ogal, is called Paradox. That's not a nickname. Well, I'm assuming it's his nickname, but that's his name on BCP. Fine. Cool. That's a baller move. A secondary baller move, however, is this geezer set up his own event and then won it. That's pretty baller. Paradox set up a 32-player event. I think it's in the Basque Country. It's on the border. It's very close to the Basque Country. If it's not in the Basque Country, I apologize. It's not like the Basque Country has any issues with Spain. I'm sure it's fine. He came first, or he or she came first out of 32 players at his own event, or her own event. I couldn't find the mission pack though, Paradox, so make sure to add that next time, and I can tell everyone about the wonderful terrain that you put out for your event that you then won. Paradox has gone for a Gorgon with territorial instincts. So he's given his monsters OBSEC. We've got the Tyrant Guard. We've got Hive Tyrant with Shard Gullet. Then we've got a Swarm Lord. So that's an interesting pick. We've got the Neurothrope with the Resonance Barb. I'm a big fan of this. I don't like failing psychic tests, and that will mean that you very rarely fail psychic tests. We've got Gargoyles, 3 squads of 15 Hormigans with the Toxin Tax. We know they go really well in Gorgon, so you can auto wound on 5s. If you give them the full rerolls from the Swarm Lord, that's 25 auto wounding hits. Very nice. We've then got 3 Paravors, 2 Paravors. Interested to find out what that 2 Paravor unit is. Would he have taken 3 if he had the points, or would they have potential, or are they doing a specific job that only 2 can do? I'm very interested. We then have 3 Venomthropes, which are obviously doing Venomthrope things. We've got the Parasite of Mortrex because that's what people take now. And we've got 2 Tyrannofexes, both of them with Acid Spray, one with Dermic Symbiosis, and one with Voracious Ammunition. Me and Ed of 6++ fame, have a big disagreement with Tyrannofexes. I'm not a big fan. I think a squad of 3 Paravors does the same for about 50 to 70 points less. But Ed loves them because you can give them OBSEC 5 with territorial instincts, and people struggle to kill them. My argument to that is, well, you could just take a Tyrannocyte if you want to do that. Why not? Like, that's a thing you could do, and I do that. But it's a tricky one. I'm not a big fan. I want to hear what you think about Tyrannofexes. I'm not their biggest fan. So this list doesn't give up a great deal on secondaries. It gives up Assassinate for 13, which you don't really want to be taking against Tyranids because the characters are pretty strong. And in terms of bring it down, he doesn't give it that much up either. He's got the 2 Tyrannofexes, the Hive Tyrants, and that's it. So what Paradox has done here is made it very difficult for his opponent or her opponent to actually score. In terms of what he's taking or she's taking, God, I'm butchering this, aren't I? He's got, God damn it, they'll probably take behind enemy lines. You've got a few different things here that can do that. It's not the easiest with this list, don't get me wrong, but it is doable. With the Hormigants, you can overrun them into your opponent's territory, which is one of my favorite things to do. If you can get a squad of Hormigants to kill a model, to charge up, kill a unit in the middle, overrun onto your opponent's home objective, and score behind enemy lines, oh my God, that is like ding, 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 ding. There's like buzzers going off, the army's coming in and doing a flight parade for you, and with planes overhead. It's just wonderful. It feels the best. The other thing you can take here is kill secondaries, obviously, because this list is quite killy with all the flamers, but probably not cranial feasting because you absolutely need to kill them in combat. We've also got banners, which we can do here. We've got lots of units that can do that. Maybe RBD, where you can do that is you have 1 unit of Hormigans shoot up the battlefield, while the other ones are doing actions. Doesn't feel that great for me because it does dictate where you place them, etc. But that can be a relatively easy 8 points for Paradox here, maybe even 12. Obviously, the psychic secondaries are there too, so that's what I think Paradox is doing. Paradox's scores are kind of in line with what I'd expect for a Tyranid player at the moment: 84, 95, 79. The 95 is a great score, so well done on that one. But as I said in the last video, we don't score the best, but we can deny our opponent scoring. And I think these are the kind of scores that you should not aim for. You should aim for the 80s. Aim for the stars, you might get to the moon, right? So if you aim for the 85s, 87s, which is what I do, you might get a winning game by 79 by the time your opponent's denied some of those points from you. So well done to Paradox. All right, next list. All right, this is Aussie. I won't lie, this is my favorite list of the weekend. This is Aussie Malocci. Sorry if I've butchered your name. He came first. Oh, yeah, I think it's a he. He came first out of 56 players in Canada. And look at those scores, guys. Woo, making me blush. 198 and 87. Okay. 198. What a performance here. Well done to Aussie. This was player placed terrain. I believe it's the frontline set. But as I understand it, I'm going to assume these terrain pieces have bases. And I'll tell you why now. It's because he's taking Gorgon with naturalized camouflage. What does that mean, Dave? Naturalized camouflage gives you +1 armor save in cover, an additional +1 armor save in cover. So his Paravors here are going to a 1-up save. His Hormigons are going to a 3-up save, etc., etc. Very nice for keeping things alive, which is the big problem with Tyranids at the moment. We are quite squishy. If someone wants to stick a mortar on our heads, it's pretty difficult to deal with that. So he hasn't given his monsters obsec, which is what we saw on the last list, but he has made things much more durable. Other interesting pieces of tech here. We've got the Tyranid Prime. It comes out every so often, just slap some fools and then goes away again. But this one has adrenal glands. I don't know if that's because Aussie had 15 points left at the end of his list building, or if he meant to. I think he could have meant to be quite honest, because this Tyranid Prime could be a very nice advancing kind of synapse link for all those units ahead of him. So you've got the Paravors, you've got the Venomthrops, you've got the Hormigons. These units are all going to be up the battlefield before the Hive Tyrants, and they're going to need some synapse to make them stay around and to give them all those buffs. And I think the Tyranid Prime is doing that. The bonus of a Tyranid Prime is it's got a good gun. He's giving it 2 bone swords. Man, like it does work. It slaps things, right? It's pretty good. So overall, I think it's an interesting take. The other thing I think is really good in this list is it gives reroll 1s to wound, and I think that's so undervalued in Tyranids because there's no other way to get that except for the more claws of Thyrax in terms of wound rerolls and what have you. So very nice. Except for Hydra, actually. Hydra do reroll wounds, I think, as well. But rerolling 1s to wound is very nice on the Hormigons because the Hormigons here don't have toxin sacks. So there's an interesting thing you can do here: reroll 1s to wound, and reroll hits from. Reroll 1s to hit and reroll 1s to wound will make them a little bit more reliable. The other interesting thing here is you could cast Poisonous Influence on them so that 6s do mortals. So instead of having the 25 auto wounds like I've discussed before for a CP, you can save your CP and potentially just do normal wounds to things and get the 6 mortals, which would be quite nice. Of course, adding reroll 1s to hit would also be very good to the Paravors and the Tyrannofexes with their Fleshborer Hives. What else have we got here? Let's talk about the Fleshborer Hives, right? So we've got 2 Tyrannofexes with Fleshborer Hives. That's 30 shots each, strength 5 -1. They always wound on 4s against non-vehicles. I'm not sure what you're hitting here, except versus demons or something like that. There is a non-vehicle that has a toughness of more than 5. So I'm not sure. I think I personally would have preferred to take the Flamers, but I'd love to hear why Aussie's done it. Maybe he's got some insider knowledge that he would love to part upon the community. We've then got some Ripper Swarms here. The Ripper Swarms are, they are there to, I imagine, to score behind enemy lines, doing mission actions like the scarring, things like that. I think the Ripper Swarms are pretty good at that. Pretty easy to squeeze in. 45 points, bang, easy peasy. A lot of times when you're building Tyranid lists, I always find that I've got a random 50 points and I don't know how to spend it. And Ripper Swarms are sometimes the answer to that question. So what secondaries is Aussie looking at here? I think behind enemy lines is one of them. We've got the Ripper Swarms, and we're probably moving up the battlefield a fair bit. Other than that, though, there's not much that's like doing it turn one. Maybe the Hormiguns are maybe getting up there with maybe turn two with an advance and charge and then overrun. But, you know, to score 100, you know, he doesn't have the assets here to nail that. So maybe action secondaries, maybe he's tabling his opponent and then putting up banners on the bodies of the departed, potentially. We've got a psychic maybe. So psychic, you'd have to have taken psychic interrogation here, which is an interesting flex. Perhaps against the opponents, it was quite an easy one, and I'll talk about his opponents in a second. But one of the ones that I think he's done really well with is no prisoners. So he scored 100 versus a demon list with lots of beasts of Nurgle. Fair play, man, because they do not die easy. But I think there's probably no prisoners in there. Maybe a psychic interrogation, perhaps, but then it's easily denied. You know, you've got to hope to get a 15 there. He's got to avoid the deny every time, which is a tough one. Then he played the Slaanesh demon list, in which he got 98, so really strong. Probably no prisoners in there. We've got a close game versus Eldar for the third game. Then an infantry heavy guard list, which he's obviously his flame has just laughed at. But, you know, I'm sure it wasn't as easy as that, to be fair. And a 98 against Custodes. So a complete left turn at the end against a very elite army that he's done very well into. So overall, Aussie, great list, mate. I'm really pleased you did really well here and smashed this event. It's almost getting me to want to buy Tyrannofex. Almost. All right, that's the list for this week, guys. Guys, thank you so much for listening to my northern drawl this week. Please like this video because my views have been going down and I don't like them going down. I want them to be strong. I want lots of people to find us. So please please subscribe to 6++ for all the amazing content we have. And thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.